What's going on, socialites? Welcome back to another Global Pokemon Society Pokemon Unite tier list video. So for today's video, we are taking one last look at these tier lists. I get a lot of flack for these, but whatever. We keep doing them. Drives the conversation, drives the content. Before I hop into this one, and I'll lay some parameters out to what I'm thinking about and everything, because I think some people don't see where I'm coming from necessarily, but I do want to say that you have a little over a week left to join the Discord for the Pokemon Unite Grand Prix series, which is a tournament that I'm putting on, so definitely check that out. Link in the description down below. But yeah, so I'm taking this as kind of like competitive, high-level play. Listen, you can bring any Pokemon to any game and you can do well. You can, pubs, rank, you can do well with anything. If you're a good player, you can do well. But I'm saying this is what you're going to see on, 5-mans, like people who are taking rank very seriously, who are going to tournaments. So we're going to break it down. Again, S through D. If I put your favorite Pokemon in D, I apologize in advance, but this is more statistics plus my general thought. So let's mix this up a little bit. Just for funsies. We'll mix all these up, get them out of that alphabetical order a little. Alright, let's start with Cramer. So Cramer in competitive, he's not bad. He's a pretty decent mage. His Unite move is strong, but it can be played around, or you can just be pounced on and killed if you try to 3v1 a bunch of people or anything. I think Cramer's B as far as competitive goes. I mean, there's not much more to say about that. He's good, but is he going to be up there on every team? They nerfed his early game a little bit, so we'll have to see. Eldegoss got a nerf, but she's still great. She's still up there. She's still the only way you're going to be getting reliable healing shields throughout the game. So Eldegoss, still great as a cleric role. Gardevoir can be good. I'm going to put Gardevoir in B. Takes a while to get to Gardevoir to power up, so you definitely are going to lose some ground in the early game as well, to make sure that you have somebody who can get you that experience and everything. But yeah, overall, Gardevoir is very late game, but she can be very powerful in the late game. I mean, Size Shot can do so much damage. I don't see a lot of Future Sight, but we do know that combo is sort of out there, which can do pretty well in those hectic team fights. Yeah, so I think she has potential. She's just so late game. Greninja's moved up to A. He might even be S. He kind of goes back and forth with another Pokemon, but I think that he's still tougher to use than some of the others. So for, the majority of players, you might not play Greninja optimally, while his other option is still easier to use. But Greninja, he could move up to S. You can kind of knock him back and forth a little bit, but I'm going to put him in A. Snorlax, S tier, best defender. Got great crowd control with block and heavy slam. His Unite move just saves his life and then lets you keep doing stuff after that, so very good. Talonflame is doing pretty well. I'm gonna put Talonflame in B for competitive. It could go up to A. I just haven't seen enough of it. The problem is that there's better Pokemon in general to put in the jungle, which is the center area that you get the most experience early in the game and get those early buffs. that you still don't really want to see Talonflame on your team necessarily compared to those other Pokemon, one of which is Greninja, that I put up on here. Ninetales, S tier attacker. The amount of crowd control and support it does while just picking stuff off here and there is great. Dazzling Gleam, Aurora Veil. Most competitive teams are going to have a Ninetales. Cinderace is the other one. He did get a small nerf, but he's still probably the best jungler that we got, best hyper carry. Again, Greninja kind of goes back and forth, but I do think that you do need a lot more skill with Greninja than with Cinderace. Is pretty basic. Absol, bump, D tier. Absol is not very good in the competitive scene. He's good early game, but just struggles late game. Like you'll be able to whatever lane you want in the early game. Like you can really weaken their bottom lane with Absol early in the game, which I would probably recommend. Maybe even try to rotate down to bottom like pretty early from the top, and try and destroy that bottom goal early and use Absol's power to kind of give you that bottom goal early. But like I don't even know if you would get 80 points that early to take care of that. Zeraora, we're going to move him to the A tier. He's kind of balanced between S and A for me, but when we're talking competitive, again, probably Greninja and Cinderace are both better in the jungle than him. He can lane a little bit, but so can both of these. He's definitely the best speedster still, so he's up there. Just a very solid Pokemon. I wouldn't be upset if Zero was on my team. Lucario is going to be our last S tier. Spoiler, sorry. I tried to mix them up, but we got all of them on here. Again, this has kind of been a standard comp in most builds, but yeah, it still rings true to this day. We'll have to see if Blastoise can shake that up, or, you know, we do know, spoilers, that Blissey is on the way, and looks like Blissey will be a very heavy healing support Pokemon. Garchomp. Garchomp has gone from B to C and finds himself in D now. Garchomp probably needs the biggest boost for everything. Yeah, Garchomp does best in the jungle because you don't want him in lane early game. He's just gonna get bullied. You're gonna lose that lane. Your jungler is gonna need to help you if you are in that lane, and even then it won't be that close. But again, there's better junglers. Like, we see 4 better junglers, maybe even 5. I think Lucario's better in the lane, but you see, like, even Absol's probably on par as a jungler just because of the early game advantage he gives you. Wigglytuff. I've been liking Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is quite a tank now. The sleep can definitely be annoying in team fights. Double slap does pretty good damage as well. As getting a little bit of CC on that, so Wigglytuff very good. Eldegoss, though, with its healing, still kind of edges it out as a support, and Snorlax is still bulkier, but it's not a bad in-between if that's what you're looking for. Charizard. Charizard, again, struggles from being one of those Pokemon that really benefits from the jungle, but they're just other Pokemon better at it. The jungle right now is so weird. There's Pokemon that you need to have in the jungle, and you can only have one Pokemon in the jungle, so it really like neuters the creativity and the diversity of the Pokemon that you can really bring. But I do think that Charizard, its Unite move is great. It just has really good overall stats and abilities, so Charizard's still really good. You can definitely use him in lane. If you get the chance to use him in jungle, it's better, but then you're giving something else up. Pikachu. Pikachu's kind of fallen down for me. Great early game, but definitely loses steam after that. I think he's still a solid B tier. You know, you can definitely still get a lot of advantages early with him. But yeah, he does still fall off quite a bit there, and we would like to see something for our electric rat boy in the future. Gengar. Gengar does not see a lot of play in the actual competitive. He hasn't really all game. Even when his Hex Spam was at its highest, he was probably still mid-tier at best for like high-level competitive. So, you know, all y'all who gave me flack for putting him in the C tier and B tiers and everything, I mean, that's just what I'm looking at. So, again, he's going to be in the C tier. He'll still do fine in pubs. He can still do that stuff, but I'm talking at Masters, you know, even Ultra, you know, high competitive. He's just not that good. He's a one-trick pony. He does take a while to get on. Like, the early game's not his strength. It's more the mid-game that's his strength. And even late game, when there's big team fights, especially since his nerf, it's really hard for him to do too much. So, yeah, Gengar in the C tier. Crustle as well. I got a lot of flack for dropping Crustle down, but again, compared to the other defenders that we have, Crustle kind of has like this offensive role as a defender with Shell Smash and X-Scissor. I mean, you can definitely cover a lot of ground with Crustle. Don't get me wrong. With Shell Smash, you can move around the map a lot, go top, bottom, wherever you need to go. But it's kind of also a selfish ability. So it doesn't really work too well in the team fights. Which is kind of like what this game all boils down to, really. It's such a short game that by the time you're past like the first 4 minutes maybe, so the last 6 minutes of the game, it's going to be all team fights. You got to be like grouped up for all that, probably even before that, because you want to start grouping up at Dreadnought, which is 3 minutes into the game. So you really only have 1/3 of the game where you kind of like split up to 2-2-1, 2-3. After that, you're basically going to be kind of roaming as a 5-man, just going to whatever lane or area you need control the most. Machamp probably could have been S tier if it wasn't for the cross chop nerf. So we're going to put him in A tier. Still think he's really good. Again, one of those Pokemon, a lot of the all-arounders really benefit from the jungle, but they kind of get pushed out by a couple attackers here. But yeah, still very good. Submission, great move. I still think cross chop is better than close combat, just because you can miss close combat a lot more, so it's unreliable. But yeah, Machamp, very good. Very good. Really gets on its game kind of early mid-game, and it's hard to stop from there. Slowbro, another really good Pokemon. If it wasn't for Snorlax, Slowbro would be S tier, because he's just one step behind Snorlax. Surf at level 4 is great. Amnesia, you can lock out a Cinderace or a Greninja early in a fight, and hopefully your teammates realize it and knock them out, because that'll really turn it around for you. But yeah, Slowbro's really good. You could have this team of 5 go up against like a Greninja, Wigglytuff, Charizard, Machamp, Slowbro team, and I bet it would be close. I bet it would be pretty close, you know? You know, Charizard or Zeraora. I don't know which one you probably choose. Charizard I think is better late game, so I'd probably pick him. But yeah, like these SNAs, they're definitely close. But the S is definitely like the best sort of comp right here. Venusaur. I moved Venusaur up to B. I thought it would be a lot more impactful. It's definitely not the D tier that it used to be, because its late game is better, but it's still not up there. Not sure exactly what it needs, because I think it did get a lot of buffs in the last one, but yeah, just not quite where it needs to be. And last but not least, Mr. Mime. I got a lot of flack for Mr. Mime. I put in the D tier. I don't see a lot of good Mr. Mime play, but I do recognize that if you are good with Mr. Mime, you will definitely be helping your team a lot. I'm hesitant to put in A. I've gone up against good Mr. Mimes too, like great with barrier, confusion, like knocking me all around and stuff, and yet it still doesn't seem like they're doing much for their team, which is what I want in my support. I also haven't seen like very good guard swaps, or I know that's like a little more niche of a choice, but I'm gonna put Mr. Mime in B. I'm gonna be conservative. Again, Mr. Mime players, queue up. Get on the enemy team, get on my team, show me how good Mr. Mime can be, because whenever I'm paired with one or against one, even one that I consider to be pretty good, because I see them like making plays and stuff, I just don't feel the overall impact from him. But yeah, that is my pre-Blastoise final competitive. I'm talking if you're in like Ultra or Master rank or going for a tournament, which if you really want to prove me wrong on these tier lists, check out the Discord for the Pokemon Unite Grand Prix series. It is our tournament that we are hosting in a couple weeks. So signups are going on for about another week, and then we'll be filling out. But yeah, queue up for that and show me how good Absol can be. You know, show me Gengar still a threat. Show me those buffs meant something to Venusaur. So yeah, definitely get in on that. And as always, stay classy, society.